now. This is the true meaning of sweet revenge. This story is especially sweet when we consider that just a month ago Press Secretary Sarah Sanders, along with her husband and 6 family members, decided to go out to dinner at the Red Hen Restaurant in Virginia. As Sanders and the rest in her party nibbled on what we can only surmise as mediocre cheese and crackers, the owner of the restaurant was called to the establishment, where she asked Sanders to come out to the patio with her. When they got to the patio, the co-owner of the Red Hen, Stephanie Wilkerson, told her the restaurant had certain standards like honesty, and compassion, and cooperation. So she asked Sanders to leave immediately. Because Sanders is a classy lady, she agreed. She gathered up her stuff and left, along with the rest of her party. The Gateway Pundit is reporting that Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders was fortunate enough to travel with President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump on their trip abroad this past week, where they made a stop at Windsor on Friday to meet none other than the Queen of England. Sanders was served tea by the Queen and her staff. Here is more on Sanders' experience at the Red Hen via Vice. The co-owner of the Red Hen Restaurant in Lexington, Virginia, has had a hell of a time since she decided to 86 Sarah Huckabee Sanders from her restaurant on Friday, coming under attack from an army of Trump supporters. But despite all the backlash she's gotten from the right, Stephanie Wilkerson says she doesn't regret a thing. "I would have done the same thing again," she told the Washington Post. "We just felt there are moments in time when people need to live their convictions." This appeared to be one. When Sanders came to the Red Hen with her husband and 6 other people on Friday night, the chef called Wilkerson to say the staff was a little concerned. Wilkerson told the Post she headed to the restaurant, and, while Sanders and her friends munched on cheeseboards, called the staff into a huddle in the kitchen, and asked if they wanted Sanders to leave. According to the Post, a handful of her employees are gay, and others have been revulsed by Sanders' treatment of the crisis at the border. They wanted her gone. Wilkerson took Sanders out to the patio and asked her to leave, telling her the restaurant had certain standards like honesty, and compassion, and cooperation. Wilkerson told the Post. Sanders agreed to go, gathered up her stuff, and headed out, followed by the rest of her party, whose meal Wilkerson comped. After the White House press secretary identified the place by name on Twitter, President Trump called it filthy, and an army of his supporters got busy screwing with its business, starting a campaign to make a bunch of fake dinner reservations and tanking its rating on Yelp. The restaurant's Yelp page has since been flooded with more than 11,000 one-star reviews, leaving it at a solid 1.5. Piggybacking on Trump's dig about the place being dirty, a few pissed-off reviewers have claimed to have found roaches in their food since Sanders was kicked out, while others have compared Wilkerson to a Nazi and called her and her staff un-American hateful bigots. But folks on the left are coming to Wilkerson's defense, leaving 5-star reviews that praise the Red Hen for taking a stand in favor of honesty and humanity, and lauding her as a true American. "I'm not a huge fan of confrontation," Wilkerson told the Post. "I have a business, and I want the business to thrive. This feels like the moment in our democracy when people have to make uncomfortable actions and decisions to uphold their morals." The next morning the press secretary had no issue in telling her story and actually named the establishment on Twitter. To make a long story short, the restaurant's Yelp page now has the business at 1.5 stars. While on the other side, liberals were happy to leave this slum a 5-star rating, although they threw a hissy fit and were falsely outraged when a Christian baker didn't want to bake a cake for a gay wedding a few years back. Wilkerson then doubled down and confirmed to the Post that she feels like this is the moment in our democracy when people have to make uncomfortable actions and decisions to uphold their morals. Odd that she would mention morals when she comes from the side that defends abortion on demand and a sexual predator like Bill Clinton and his wife Hillary, who had no issue whatsoever in dragging her husband's accusers through the mud in order to save what little was left of her own political aspirations.